I'm gonna try to do a start to finish on this pump here. Sun's shining today, so I got the door open. It feels pretty good out here. T-shirt weather in February or January is nice. I'm not to February yet. All right, got all the bolts loose. I would apologize for the lighting, but it's pretty nice to have sunlight, so I'm gonna enjoy it. Okay, all the bolts out. I've got the pump as clean as I could get it. So we're just gonna start pulling her apart here. There's actually two pieces here. Let me grab a screwdriver. Pop this plate up here. And there's seals in here. We've got two check balls you got to be sure not to lose here. And remember which way this goes in. It's shiny on this end. Shiny end goes to the middle of the gear. And this is a gear roller system. Gear roller motor. Interesting design. Pretty simple design, actually, I think. I mean, the way it's valved is really complicated, and I don't quite understand it, but as far as assembly and the way it's built, it's pretty simple. But you do not want to mix these rollers up in a different bore. So when you take these apart, be sure you keep all the rollers in the bore they were in. And I mean, they are trying to roll out of there right now. It's trying to slide out. So there's a certain direction that goes together. If you keep the gear in there though, you'll know which way it goes. It can only go in there one way, but if you pull that center gear out and you lose track of that, you will have a mess. I don't know how you would ever figure out how it went. This is just standing full of oil. I'm gonna actually dump it out here. I don't think there's any parts I can lose out of this. The oil in this motor is pretty clean, so I don't really have a problem with leaving the parts oily. As long as I don't get dust on it. There's no wind out or anything today, so I think we'll be in good shape. And this actually comes off here too. There it goes. Just had to break the paint loose, or the seal. It's got a O-ring on there. O-ring's kind of stuck. Okay, so we got an O-ring inside here. Once again, it's flattened out and shiny. This little plunger, there's really no need to disassemble this, in my opinion, any further than this. If we keep it clean, we can just put it all right back together with new seals. At least that's my plan. I believe these motors are different from left and right. I don't think you could use the parts from the right motor on the left motor, but I could be mistaken. There may be timing on them, I don't know. But we are just gonna basically pull out our new seals here and I'll try to keep all my old ones over here. Keep track of what I'm pulling out as we go. Keep all my new ones over here. Okay. A little dab of grease on the O-rings. Keep them in place. Oil will help keep them in place too. This is a simple little O-ring. This little part right here, when it goes out, you know, you're losing a lot of oil through this motor. You might not need a new motor, you might need a 50-cent O-ring. Kind of an interesting, to me that's interesting. The thing you got to remember on these when you put them together is there's a case drain hole. There's only one in these plates. They all have to line up when you put it together. So there's that one. My next seal will be the O-ring that goes in the back of this gear roller assembly here. This is the tricky one. I have to put it in without losing all the rollers. Takes all my fingers. Oh, I just lost a roller. Came out just like that though. Okay. Weep hole, or the case drain hole, lines up with the case drain holes there. I think, just be sure you get it. You can put a bolt in every so often and make sure you get everything lined up. Or should be able to anyway. And I've got a small screwdriver that I can check and make sure that I'm going through the case drain hole on each plate. But, just make sure I got everything lined up. Oh, you know what I did? Oh, that's the old one. Okay, never mind. I thought I forgot that one. That's the old one. So between this plate and the next one, there's just one of these. This is the wear plate. This is the plate that the gear roller rubs against. You can see how it shines it up. This pump here, actually, it looks like it has less wear in it than the other one. But once again, weep hole lines up with, or the case drain hole lines up with that. Put a bolt in, check. I'm really kind of amazed how easy this is to do, unless I'm doing it wrong, which is possible. But when I look in the book, this is a simple, pretty simple system here. Like I say, we're very clean. We got clean oil. I plugged off all the ports on the pump before I pulled it. So when I put it in a parts washer, there was no way dirt could get inside of it. I highly recommend a plug kit if you're going to do this. Pretty hard to do without it. to keep things clean. I don't know how I would have done it without a plug kit, because when you leave those ports open, you're letting dirt into the... As soon as you pull the line loose, you should cap those off. And this plug kit really helped on that. And there we are. We are at the end of that. The only thing we have to worry about, not sure, that doesn't seem to be sitting down in there very good. Well, it has to be there. That's it. And case drain hole here, this last one will be the tough one. But it's right next to this hole here on the bottom, so we just got to remember where that's at. Wait. Somebody probably noticed what I just did wrong there. This is an old O-ring. You gotta put a new one in it. Almost screwed up there, didn't I? All right, now set that right in there. Looks like my little washer moved over a little bit, so to rotate it. Double check that. Yeah, that's what I thought. Would have been easier if I'd had that together right the first time. All right, let's double check our holes. We are going all the way into the bottom there. This weep hole goes under my finger. Okay. Oh, I did it on the last one too. Before you put the bolts in, you got to get this in there. Remember, shiny side to shiny side. But you can't put that in after these bolts are in place. You can't put that in there. And now we are down to basically our torque pattern. Grease off my hands here, and we will spin these down. There is a pattern to these, so you want to be sure and follow that when you do this. And I will show you the pattern. Start out up here. Sorry about the hat and the camera there. And get the book open to the right page here. We start with number 1 right here. And I'm not torquing right now, I'm just going to snug them down. We go to number 2, we skip 2 bolts. Then we skip 2 more. 3. Then we skip over 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, before I go any farther, I want to make sure that none of the seals are cut or Want to be sure these plates all look like they're down flat. If you see any rubber sticking out or there's any gaps in there, you probably got something out of place. Now I'm going to torque it. I'll have to set it up here in a vise to get the torque on it. Now you can see me torque this, maybe. We got 2 steps on this. The first step is 50 foot-pounds or 45 to 55, so I'm going to go to the middle on 50. And we're going to start out with number 1. It's right here. Jump over 2 to number 2. Number 3 is over here. And we're going to jump all the way over number 1 to number 4, I believe. Yep, this is number 4. Then we're going to jump over number 5 is right at the bottom, in line with this hole. Six is up here. Seven should be here. 8. And 9. If this pump had a lot of trash in it, it would need to be washed, but in my opinion, since it's I'm gonna go back over these, make sure I didn't miss one at 50 foot-pounds. But since this motor's not had a failure, it's not really, there's not any metal in the system. The oil's pretty clean, so I consider it clean enough to just, you know, wash the dirt off the outside of the pump, keep it as clean as you can when you put it together. And now we're gonna go to 65, that's the maximum on these. Okay, now I'm gonna check them. I might have got that one out of place, but I think we're okay. All good. Now we're ready to put it on the Bobcat. Okay, we're ready to put this drive motor back in on the little Bobcat. This is, there's no ring that seals the case to the machine right there. I did not replace that O-ring. It looked like it's in good shape. I thought it came with the seal kit, but it didn't, so I don't think it's gonna leak. But anyhow, these are like a 7/16 thread, I think, and it says in the book to torque these to 100 foot-pound on the 4 bolts that hold the motor in place. I didn't see anywhere where it recommended Loctite or anything, so I'm assuming that's all it needs. And I've got these caps. I bought this set of caps off of eBay. Man, they're nice for stuff like this because you can pull these lines loose and you can keep them from dripping while you're working on something. It's super nice. Nothing more aggravating than pulling hydraulics apart and then having to big puddle of oil under your machine after you're done. There's a puddle under this one, but that's a different story, I think. It's got a bad leak somewhere. I need to try to find it. Seems to leak all the time, even when it's sitting still. So anyhow, could be another hose on here needing replaced or something. So, but this is really not a big project as far as I thought there'd be a little bit more involved in this. Pretty simple. It's not real hard to pull the motors out. It's not real hard to put the motors back. I do recommend the plug kits. Now these are O-ring, and the little line is the JIC. So I bought a kit for both sides. These are the flare or the JIC, and these are O-ring fittings. So I bought a kit that covered both, and the neat thing is it covers the little ones, big ones, about anything you need. Oh, I'm so tired of having a cold. So we're gonna torque these to 100 foot-pounds. Whoops. And then hook the lines up, and I think I'm gonna just go ahead and pull the other motor off and do the same thing. This is a fairly simple project. 74 bucks or 80 bucks a side, something like that. That's what I got in seals. So not a major deal. Get some wrenches. As soon as I pull this out, it'll start leaking. And that one is back in behind. That's the hardest one to get to. It's way back in there. I think it's easier to do it before you do the big lines. Just my opinion. Kind of cleaned it up best I could. It needs a good bath. It really needs. Spend a few hours with the skid plates off and pressure washer, but that's not going to happen today. Okay, now these other two lines, if you hook these up backwards, you will have the wrong directional control on your sticks. But I believe there's only one way that really fits, so that's what I'm hoping anyway. And I believe this one here goes right here, and the curved one goes in the top. So at least that's how I remember this thing coming apart. It's been a day or two. And I don't have end wrenches as big as these, so well, I do on this side, but the crescent's handy. There's that one. There's the oil. Yeah. I actually like these O-ring fittings better than the JIC or the flare. I think they do a better job of sealing. They're a little bit easier to work on too, in my opinion. They seem to come apart easier. That gets tight enough. Yeah, the kit I bought has 2 of every size cap and plug. I hope I don't have them crossed up back here. I think that's gonna work though. Yeah. There we go. Ready for the oil. Not that bad. But these work way better than just stuffing rags and stuff. This will actually keep it clean. I mean, you can pretty much keep all the dirt out of these lines when you do it like that and cap it off. So anyhow, I think I'm gonna put this side all back together. I don't know that there's a need to test. My deal is that I'd like to get it back together where I can actually run it back and forth, and I don't want to put a partial new tank of oil in it and then have to drain it right back out. So my thinking is just go ahead and do both motors, get her full of oil, and then we'll see what happens.